If a brake job for the front of your 2010 through 2024 Toyota 4Runner is on your to-do list, but you want a better performing set than the standard OE1, this PowerStop Z36 Extreme Truck and Tow 6-lug brake rotor and pad kit for the front will be a great option to look into. This set will be a solid addition to your 4Runner if your current setup is worse for wear and you're getting that annoying squeak telling you that it's time, or you feel the performance decreasing. Now these will be for you if you need that extra bite, especially if you have a heavier setup, if you have heavy armor on your build, or you're doing any overlanding that requires extra equipment that will bump up your build's gross weight. That's also a great choice if you want to separate the front and rear for whatever reason, whether you want to customize your brake setup or on a different maintenance schedule, or simply just want to save a few bucks. Now, once you start upping the load or the weight of your build, regardless if you are hauling all of that extra cargo or equipment on your overlanding or off-roading trips, larger tires, heavy armor, or whatever else it is going to require more of your 4Runner to stop, and this kit will come with the design to do it and make a substantial improvement. Now, the rotors included in this kit aren't just for sporty show, but the drilled and slotted details here will help the face of the pad keep an even surface for consistent braking, and the holes and the veining in the middle is going to keep some really good cooling to help them run efficiently. The pads will also bump it up with a build that is specifically designed for tougher abuse while also being noise free, so you won't get any annoying noise when it comes to your braking, especially with a higher performance set that does have the potential to do that, and less brake dust so you're not constantly cleaning your wheels. Now, starting with the rotors build, these will have a premium cast iron design and will feature a zinc-plated finish to help with longevity, especially in poor conditions. The pads will have a carbon fiber infused ceramic compound, which is specifically tailored to those higher performance applications, heavier applications, as it says in the name, Extreme Truck and Tow, while also keeping it very comfortable day to day. And the kit will also come with all of the hardware that you need, including the rods for install and all the stainless steel hardware to make sure that you have everything that you need for a straightforward swap. The pads will also come with a little squeaker to make sure that you know the next time you need to swap out your pads and rotors. It will also have some stainless steel shims on the back, and you're getting all of the hardware in the kit for a straightforward swap. This kit for just the front will come in at about $250, which will actually be a pretty affordable price point for what this kit offers. And if you do want to get both the front and the rear, you will be looking at a little bit of a higher price point, but compared to the rest of the category, it will be still pretty affordable. Now, this will have a higher performance aspect to the entire kit. This will have the sporty look and will consist of everything that you need to bump up the performance while still being right there in price compared to some more stock replacement choices. Now, if your 4Runner isn't in need of a complete overhaul for your braking system, or you simply just want to split it up and want a more than average brake kit when it comes to the components and the performance, this is going to be a great choice to consider. Install on this will be a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and will probably take you about 3 hours or so to get the job done. Now, that is going to wrap it up for my review. At this point, we can head over to the shop and check out a detailed step-by-step breakdown on how you can get these onto your 4Runner at home.
The tools you'll need for this project are an impact gun or half-inch drive ratchet, a 12 and a 13mm socket, a 19mm swivel socket, a screwdriver, an M8 by 1.25 bolt, some brake cleaner, a clean cloth, a caliper hanging tool, and a caliper piston compression tool. Hi everyone, today we're installing a set of front brakes on our 4Runner, so let's get started by watching a short video on how to uninstall the stock brakes.
So our first step is to remove our brake pads from our caliper. We have a couple clips that we'll have to remove. We can slide out our 2 pins and then remove our pads. So first we can pop out this clip that's connected to our 2 pins. So we'll just push down on that and pop that out of the hole. And then we can slide that out of place. And then we can push forward on our pins to slide those out. And then we'll remove our second clip. Next we can remove our 2 pads. Now these are a little stiff in there, so I'm just going to use a screwdriver in these two holes and just pry back and forth to slide our pad out. And then we'll do that same thing for our other pad. Next, we can remove our two caliper bolts. So I'm going to grab a 19mm swivel socket to take these out. Now I'm going to leave this one in until we get our caliper hanger so we can hang this up and not put any pressure on our brake line. Next, we're going to remove this 12mm bolt that holds our brake line bracket in. We'll grab our 12mm socket to take that out. And we can pop that out of place. Next, we can fully remove that last bolt that's holding in our caliper and use a caliper hanger or bungee cords to hang our caliper up. Now I'm just going to hook this to the spring and then remove our bolt. And then with our bolt removed, we can remove our caliper. So next we can remove our rotor. Now you have a couple options here. If your rotor just pulls right off, then great, you're lucky. If not, you can tap around the rotor with a rubber mallet since we are going to be replacing our rotors. Or since we have a threaded hole here, I'm going to be using an M8 by 1.25 bolt that we can thread in. And then we'll just take a 13mm socket on a ratchet to tighten that down, and that'll push the rotor away from the hub. And then once you get that to pop, you can pull your rotor the rest of the way off.
All right, now we're ready to start installing our new brakes. And because these are slotted and drilled, you need to make sure that you have the correct rotor for the correct side of the vehicle that you're working on. One way that you can tell, obviously, this one has a sticker on it that says front passenger side. If you don't have that sticker, another way you can tell is look at the direction of the slots and the holes. If they start from the center and go outwards towards the back of the vehicle, you know you got the correct one. Another way that you can tell is by looking on the edge of the rotor itself, and the first thing you'll see is the part number, and then the last letter of the part number is an R or an L. If it says R and you're working on the passenger side, you know you've got the right one. Now, next thing we're going to do is clean our rotors so that we remove any kind of manufacturing oils or chemicals or anything that may have gotten on it during shipping. So what I like to do is put it on backwards first, and then using our brake cleaner and a clean cloth, we'll go ahead and spray this down and then wipe it off, and then we'll flip it over and put it on and do the other side. And with that side clean, we'll just flip this over. And do the outside. Now we'll go ahead and push our rotor on. Now we can start reassembling our caliper and our pads. Now before we can put our pads in, we need to compress the pistons inside our caliper because most likely the rotor that you're putting on and the pads as well are going to be thicker than what came off. So we need to compress these pistons inside the caliper to make room for the pads and the rotor. For that, you're going to need a tool similar to this that you can rent at most auto parts stores. And the way this works is it's a ratcheting tool that you slide in between the two between all 4 of the pistons, and then just ratchet it, and it will go ahead and spread apart. And as it spreads apart, it will compress the pistons inside the caliper. Now, once you've got your pistons completely inside the calipers, now we can go ahead and reinstall our caliper back onto its mounting bracket. All right, now we'll slide our caliper back over our rotor. And using the original hardware, we'll secure that to the knuckle. We'll start installing our top one. We'll install our lower bolt as well. And we'll tighten them down with our 19mm socket. All right, now we're ready to install our pads, but before we do, we need to use some of the supplied lubricant that comes with the kit. And we're gonna spread a little bit of this, not a whole lot, just a little bit on the back side here where it makes contact with the caliper pistons themselves. And then we can go ahead and slide them in. Now, since we're not leaving these brakes on our vehicle, we're not actually going to apply this, but you get the idea. You just open it up a little bit, spread a little bit of the lube on here, and then go ahead and insert it. The other thing you want to make sure of is that the pad that goes on the inside has this wear indicator on it. So with that being said, we can go ahead and slide this in. Do the same thing with the outer pad. Now we can use the supplied pins to locate those in place. We're also going to be using the new supplied springs as well. So then once we've got our spring in place, slide our lower pin through. Now you want to make sure that your holes on the outside of the pins are lined up. Then we can go ahead and insert our retaining spring for the pins and insert that back into the hole in the caliper itself. Now that you've got that whole thing assembled on one side, you can go ahead and repeat that process for the other side. And just remember, torque everything down to manufacturer recommended specs. And then before you actually get in and drive it, make sure you pump the pedal a couple of times to close those pistons and the brake pads up against the rotor. And that wraps up our review and install of the PowerStop Z36 Extreme Truck and Tow 6-lug brake rotor and pad kit for the front for your 2010 and newer 4Runner. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things 4Runner, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.